Here we go then, the final weekend of the Tour de Ski, and what a tour it has been. We're back in Val di Fiemme, the traditional ending to the Tour de Ski. 2 legs, of course, a classic race today, a mass start, and that will set us up for the chase up the Alpe Chemise tomorrow. The hill climbers have got to get within, what, 2 minutes of the Tour leaders if they want a chance of taking the title this year. Usberg is the new leader, and for me, looks as though she should be able to wrap it up, but she'll need a good race here today, Mike.
She does. She's got 35 seconds advantage over Neprieva, but we know Neprieva has a good team around her. We know she's very good in classic technique, which suits her today.
And the other top positions, as we have a look at some of the scenery from Val di Fiemme, it's a beautiful area, especially when the sun's out and the snow is deep. And there's been plenty of snowfall in this part of the Alps over recent weeks. Or the Dolomites, I should say, really. A winter wonderland, certainly, but for those racing today, they know they just have 48 hours of torture to put up with before we will finally know the outcome of this year's Tour. How many, Mike, are in the running? Obviously, Usberg 35 seconds clear, Neprieva a similar margin ahead of third place Jess Diggins. But would you say Diggins and Belarukova, Parmakoski, Sedova, Heidi Weng, last year's champion, are they still with a chance of winning?
Heidi maybe just a little too far out of it, I think, detached by 3:15. The rest, Sedova, Parmakoski, Belarukova, and of course Jess Diggins, I think they have a chance. If Usberg or Neprieva find fatigue is catching them today, they could capitalise on that. It's unlikely, but it is possible.
And I think the fact that it's a mass start today, Mike, means that firstly, those further back, the Wengs, the Sedovas. Here's Jess Diggins. Let's just hear what she has to say.
Second last stage. What's your plan for today?
My plan is to have fun. I have my mom and my dad and my sister out here, and ski racing should be fun. So I'm going to make sure I have fun today, and all I can do is go as hard as I can, so I plan to do that.
A private message for your family out there?
I love you guys. You're the best and the loudest, and I just love you.
And you will succeed very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You get the feeling there's a lot of fun in the Diggins household when they're all around, and certainly that'll make a big difference to her. Being from USA, you don't get the sort of familiar support that you get if you're a European racer, because it's, you know, it's so easy to get to the big events.
And you know what, an amazing boost for Jess in the final couple of days of the Tour de Ski. That's got to be a positive, and that's got to account for many more seconds advantage, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike, the fact that it's a mass start means it's very difficult for someone to get a huge lead today. The bonus seconds today are absolutely crucial and could determine the outcome of the overall Tour. Welcome back to Val di Fiemme, a venue that has hosted the World Championships on a number of occasions, but more frequently it hosts the end of the Tour de Ski. 2 legs. We've got a classic race today. The women racing over 10, slightly shorter distances for both men and women. Often this is a 30k race for the men, but not today. And it's quite tough, Mike. We're in the bottom of a deep valley. The course setters, they don't have much option. You go up the side of the hill. When it gets too steep, you turn around, come back down again, and then just go up the other side of the valley. It turns out to be a really tough course, one that might suit Jess Diggins.
I think so, and setting the fastest time just 2 days ago. They had a day off yesterday. Yes, there was a 5-hour journey to negotiate from Oberstdorf down to this beautiful valley. So Jess Diggins with the family there as well. We said that big positive for her, I think. Neprieva, she hasn't had any real bad days at all. Strong throughout, and a good team supporting her. Usberg, well, she's found her form, she's found her best racing, and that winning streak, her confidence has to be so high with just 2 days to go. She's very good classic style, as she is in freestyle.
On the climb last year, Usberg with the 3rd fastest time on the uphill section, so that really bodes well for how things turn out today. I think Neprieva and Belarukova are an unknown quantity as far as the final climb is concerned. And I know they raced last year, Mike, but they're so young, you'd expect to see an improvement. and they're both light.
The improvement they've brought to this season. Belarukova winning the first sprint race, of course, unexpected for her, unexpected for everybody. The temperatures today, just looking at this, minus 4.6, very low humidity, as it always is in this valley. Not a nightmare in terms of waxing the skis for the technicians.
Well, here's the course for the day, and as you can see, it's a 2.5 kilometre loop, so 4 times round that to make up the 10 kilometres. And of course the drop down, fast descent before the final climb that then leads into a fairly quick descent into the stadium. And that final climb, Mike, has decided many a race at World Championship level. It may well do the same again today. The start list based on their positions in the Tour de Ski at the moment. What this doesn't tell you is the margins behind, the seconds that they need to make up. And the key number is the 35 seconds between numbers 1 and 2, Usberg and Nepray-Eva. All these down in 18th, 19th, they're now over 5 minutes adrift of the Tour leaders. No chance of catching them before the end of the Tour. But, you know, with so many people dropping out, Mike, you can be in 23rd today and still make the top 15 of the Tour come the end of tomorrow.
Yes, and points, you know, it's points for everybody. Well worth continuing on the Tour. She's looking positive and happy and confident.
So one lot of bonus seconds halfway through the race. We'll get another lot of bonus seconds at the finish. Usberg did well in this race last year in terms of picking up bonuses. She'll want to do the same again today. Jess Diggins is not going to let her do it without a fight. We've got a really quality front field. It's a shame that Johaug hasn't been racing in the Tour this year, Mike, but it does make the overall World Cup very interesting. Usberg, of course, the new leader.
She's going to pick up, well, if she wins this, 400 extra points, and that'll be tough for Johaug to shoot back and try and take the overall title this year.
Parmakoski for Finland, 28. Comes from Ikarlinen, and has had a very, very successful career. Found herself up against some of the greats. Heidi Weng, the defending champion, down in 7th place at the moment, 3 minutes 15 behind. She needs to get the bonuses and she needs to win this event. She actually won it last year in 29.07, but only took 7 seconds out of Parmakoski. She's got to be better than that. Get the margin back to under 2 minutes, and then maybe she can have a crack at defending the title. But I think it's unlikely. Usberg is going to fight hard for this one. Only 33 athletes left from over 70 who entered the start of the Tour. A little shake of the legs from Usberg. These are nervous moments. And of course, you're also thinking, is my wax going to work? The conditions and the waxing has played a part. And Mike, you could say that Jess Diggins, who iced up in stage 4 on the classic race in Oberstdorf, really that has cost her a realistic shot at the title. She's 1:22 down. She lost at least a minute with the icing. 22-second margin between herself and Usberg, and you might favour the American to win the Tour.
Well, that's right, and because of her skis not working well on that day, she wasn't able to attack the bonus seconds and the sprint sections of the race. And today there's only the possibility over the 10-kilometre journey to pick up, to charge for a 15-second bonus. If you're first across the line, then 12, then 10, all the way down to 1 point for the first 10 athletes through the sprint point.
Parmakoski, the first one to make a move. What would your tactics be if you were Usberg, Mike? What would you be looking to do today?
I think she's in a comfortable position to just keep an eye on the field and go with any breaks that are going to happen. And right now, it looks like Parmakoski. And this course, Patrick, I think really suits Parmakoski's style of racing.
Parmakoski, she's small at 5'3". What's that? 160 centimetres. Weighs in at around 56. Although you're never quite sure because the weight fluctuates a little during the race season. But she's small, she's light, she's powerful, she's compact, but perhaps more important than anything, she has that sort of bulldog competitive mind, and she is prepared to hurt herself more than many.
I think so, and this course profile, unlike 3 days ago in Oberstdorf, where it was fairly flat and then one brutal long climb, today we've got these undulations. and which allows recoveries.
Well, let's pick out a few of the athletes for you. That's Usberg in the blue bib at the front. Some of those a bit further back. We've just seen Vince wearing 22 for Sweden. Work to do for her. Pellegrini of Italy is at the back as well. Now, the ones at the front, Usberg out front. Diggins in second place. The American, I think that's Nepraeva. It is Nepraeva now moving up into second. Parmakoski over on the far side with the sort of aqua blue visor on. And just behind her, two of the Norwegians. I assume one of them is Heidi Weng. It is. And the other one is probably Kari Slind. We'll just double check on the numbers. We're looking for bib number 8. You can see it on the left. And number 10, that's Lotte Udnesveng. Does get a bit confusing. We've got 3 Wengs all in the top 11 of the Tour standings.
But isn't it interesting? The twins, Lotte Udnes and Tiril Udnes, their positions 10 and 11. They normally just keep so similar. The results are very similar from the day they started racing.
Yeah, Tiril Udnes some 37 seconds behind her twin sister going into this stage of the Tour. 2 stages left, of course, 19 kilometres in all to be skied, and they go through the first split point. No real changes, no real developments as yet, and when they break into single file, that is a surefire sign that those at the front are starting to push the pace.
The separation at the back of the field, so the pace, they started the first climb very gentle, the pace has opened up now, and of course that previous hill, that was 22% gradient at its worst. This is remember the World Championships way back, what, 2003 here, Jürgen Brink leading the men's relay. He just had a massive decline in performance with 1 kilometre to go, and this section here is called the Brink Hill coming up.
Well, we've seen all sorts of drama here. Daria Colonia taking a fall in the 50k in the World Championships, and
while he was chasing
for top spot in the 50k. Yeah, that was a fantastic race. So Usberg is happy to set the pace. She's a front runner. We've seen that over the many years. What a career she's had, Mike. Her World Cup standings at the end of the season, she's gone 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 3rd, currently lying in 1st. She deserves a crystal globe. There's no doubt about that. In terms of the Tour de Ski, 2nd, 4th, 2nd in the last 3 years, and obviously lying in top spot at the moment. She's so consistent.
And you know what? Now that she's at the top, yes, she's been in this position before, but now, with Heidi Weng not functioning, not racing as well as she was over the last 3 years, it must give Usberg a real confidence that she can still win this one.
Do you think, like many, that Heidi Weng's demise since the Tour de Ski last year was a result of the effort she put into winning the Tour?
I do. I really do. Back to Heidi Weng, she has had setbacks this summer when your training is broken many different times. You know, it does trip you up. You haven't got the base training or the quality training in the summer months to make you strong in the winter.
Coming to the fast downhill that leads into the last climb, and it is quick out there. The open arms, that's just a method of slowing yourself down. You usually see it when they're on roller skis, which don't have brakes, and you're in a desperate state to slow yourself down. It's actually Heidi Weng who's sitting in 2nd place. So she's decided to track Ingvild Usberg, which might be a very good plan. Nepraeva's still there, lying in 3rd. Parmakoski back in 4 at the moment. I think that's Belarukova moving up into 5. And the best of the Swedes, Mike, it might be Melander.
It is. She's doing well today. She's looking a lot sharper today. And 17 and 23, Melander. And it's Vizhna I'm looking at.
3 Russians in the top 6 of the Tour standings. They'll not be happy if they don't get at least one of them on the podium, probably hoping for 2, but they want the win in the Tour. And if there's one team, Mike, that has used this penultimate leg to advantage their top skier, it's the Russians. They will do anything to protect their main chance, just like in a cycling team.
Very much team orders, and the Russians, they really work as a team. And in fact, you know what? They're the only team who have the athletes racing today who they started with on day 1. They started with 8. There's 8 Russian women in this field today, and they just they say they invest all this money to take them to World Cups, to take them to Tour de Ski. They're not going to step out of it easily. This is their commitment. This is what they do, and Russia expects it. I like that. I like the fact that they have commitment to this tour.
Yeah, I think the Tour de Ski has a bit of an issue that over 50% of the field pull out. The sprinters are always going to pull out because there's nothing for them after the second and final sprint. But, you know, some of the athletes, Iversen, for example, for Norway, I know he's not built for a hill climb, but it's such a shame to see him right up in the top two of the tour, and then he just calls it a day.
Well, and that's it. And the Norwegian press gave them a hard time, the system, the team leader as well. And I think that's quite right. And that actually has made Klæbo remain in the tour, because he was thinking of getting a flight home as well.
So through the 2.5 kilometre marker, and the top 15 separated by a mere 5.5 seconds. All the big names are in there. No developments here so far, but as the race goes on, and probably when we get to lap 3 of 4, we will see someone starting to make a break, and there is going to be an almighty dash for the bonus seconds when we get there. 19, that's Pia Fink of Germany. The Germans not really shining in the tour. She's the best place, down in 19th.
Well, in fact, she's the only
one left.
The only one today.
Yeah, because Victoria Carl, I was looking for her, but she withdrew last night, but she was already placed, she was down in 35th position, so she has pulled out.
It's quite interesting, Patrick, the climb out of the stadium again, and everybody respecting the tour leader. There she is, and letting her dictate again. It's not fast, it's not ballistic yet, but we just expect it to go faster quite soon.
Fantastic atmosphere in Val di Fiemme. The cowbells are always out. Easy to get to for many spectators. And many come across from Austria and Germany and head east from Switzerland.
And tomorrow on the Alpscher-Mees, there's going to be so many thousands of spectators, and quite right to follow the best up the Alpine slope.
Only one athlete missing from that top group, Mike. Slightly surprised to see that Jess Diggins wasn't there. There she is. What's she doing, dropping back to around 15th, 16th? Don't say the Americans have got the ski preparation wrong again.
I really hope not, Patrick, because Jess wants to try and get up there to try and get some of those potential 15-second bonus soon.
Well, there's a possibility she's just sitting at the back trying to get protected, which we saw was a very good thing. Actually, she's making a dash. I think maybe just got caught out on the downhill section. But with her mum and dad here, Clay and Deborah, she will be putting in more than usual. And her normal input of energy is just staggering from Jessie Diggins. She's great to watch, great inspiration. The Americans love her. And, of course, with that gold medal out in Pyeongchang last year in the team relay with Keegan Randall, she's a name in American cross-country skiing that's never going to be forgotten. But do remember, no American has won the Tour de Ski. So a little bit of history possibly in the making if she has a really good run today.
Come on, Jess. She's looking like, what, 12th, 14th position. There she is, Jess, coming around the bend now. She's moving forward, so it missed it, but maybe she had a stumble, maybe she had a fall.
I'm just wondering whether the skis aren't running quite as well. Have a look at the foot. She seems to be okay, but she's staying out of the tracks, which is usually a sign that the grip isn't as good. Now moves into the track, couple of slips. That could be the issue. Only guessing, but it could be an issue that she hasn't got the grip on the uphill. The result of that is that your upper body, your arms, your triceps and your lats do far too much work in the early stage of the race.
Super loaded. Sedeva bib 6, looking strong there. She put just changed gear, changed down, picked up the pace, tempo increased, and easily moved up the rankings to what? Well, second place on this left column.
Past the lump of cheese at 6.52 kilometres.
Jess is coming back, so she must have had an issue further back. The skis maybe not working great, but she's working hard.
.52, of course, the distance to go to the finish rather than the distance that they have skied. So still not at the halfway stage. And Usberg again doing all the donkey work. Is that the way to race? I'm not sure it is, unless you're pulling away, unless you're breaking up the field, Mike. Why lead? Why not just sit in the back? Let someone else do the hard work out front.
I find it, I mean, maybe she just wants to sit at the front, feeling absolutely confident and thinking, okay, I'll just react if someone comes past me. But no, I agree, it's harder work out front. We all know that. And she's taking all the work on. Great to see Her teammate Heidi Weng looking much better today.
When the Norwegian team are out training, who do you think leads in a training group?
Probably.
Do you think it's Østberg?
Some athletes do. They want to be at the front all the time. In a men's race, it's Bolshinov. He just doesn't get it. He just has to lead. But I don't know. But I think the fact that Østberg is leading, she feels the responsibility that she needs to be leading this race as well. Leading the tour, leading this race. Oh,
really we've got an issue, but it's not one of those Russians in contention, is it?
She looks exhausted. I think that was...
I think it was Zerabiateva, who is number 25.
She looked exhausted, just stopping there, just supporting herself on her ski poles. Spent force, I think.
She's 6:42 down in terms of the tour standings as they come around the sharp left-hander. Tracks are okay, a little bit icy first thing this morning, but with the temperatures just warming up a little, no major problems.
It shows the speed here, Patrick, when everybody, well, last time around, so yes, so Østberg was just feeling it. Is it safe? She was standing tall the first time down. She's seen what it's like and felt what it's like. She was tucking a little lower this time.
Yeah, this is the fastest section of the course, and if you can carry the speed into the next uphill, which is very difficult, and Heidi Weng going over the back of the skis, losing 3 or 4 meters, but crucially losing momentum. So she's had to work very hard at the bottom of the climb to get back in touch with Østberg. That's just the sort of mistake you cannot afford to make, particularly on the last lap.
What has happened? The equipment's fine. It's the engine. She's tired. Holding her stomach. I wonder if she took a tumble and tip of a ski maybe. Don't know. Didn't see it.
Well, suddenly the field is starting to be spread out, and it's Østberg who is gradually cranking up the work rate. Heidi Weng doing well in second place, but they've still got Natalia Nepraeva, who's second in the tour rankings. Remember, the bib number relates to their position in the tour. Couple of slips on the right leg for Heidi Weng. Doesn't look comfortable, Mike. That doesn't bode well for later on in the race. Palmer-Koski, 2 or 3 times she's let that 5-6 meter gap open up and had to work hard to close it down.
Well, that's the first Russian withdrawal, but it's on an injury, and that's the only way they pull out.
Well, I'm not sure it is. She keeps looking at the pulse watch. Would be an indication that she's monitoring the pulse rate and something not quite right. Athletes are so aware about that, and if it's racing away and you're not really putting in that much effort, you're not likely to push on.
Engine failure. Engine failure. Well, we'll look at this. We've got a definite cream floating to the top now at half distance. These are the serious contenders today.
Tachycardia, I think they call it. Plenty of athletes have suffered from it in the past, and it's something that you do not take any risks with. So Østberg through, then Weng, then Palmer-Koski, then it's Nepraeva, Sadova just behind her. Belarukova we're looking for as well, wearing bib number 4. And also Jess Diggins. Any developments there, Mike? This is not looking good for the American, who, oh, she's just off the pace. There she is. What's the margin?
Come on,
she's
Jess.
down in 7th, but 3 seconds off 6th. And Diggins has got to get in contact with that front group if she wants any chance of winning the Tour this year. She can't really afford to miss out on the bonus seconds, which are coming this lap.
And that's why the pace has picked up. Østberg taking full responsibility for the pace change. She wants 15 bonus seconds.
Yeah, she's looking good. Palmer-Koski, I think, sensing the danger and just nips in alongside Heidi Weng, wants to close the gap down on Østberg. 15 bonus seconds would be absolutely brilliant. And as far as Østberg's concerned, she could ask, she'd like Heidi Weng to do her a favour and get between herself and Nepraeva. But Nepraeva looking very sharp. Those are her legs working away like a well-oiled pendulum.
Very much. Sedova, second Russian red suit, right side. She's having to really work to make the wax grip on these, well, very icy conditions.
Now, you know the bonus seconds always come at the top of a climb, Mike. When are we going to see the bonus seconds at the bottom of a steep hill?
Oh, more exciting on the uphill. Make
No,
them work, make them sprint up the steep hill. That's what's going to happen very soon.
Cross country is all about every element of skiing. Uphill, downhill, cornering, tactics, everything.
On the downhill, you can't change much. Gravity assisted, you can't pick up pace. On the uphill, you can put in a sprint.
You tell me, or no, don't tell me. Go and tell Petter Northug that you can't do anything on the downhill. He was the master of tactics and gaining ground on the downhill.
Well, maybe they'll listen to you for next year and we'll have this split on the downhill section. We'll have to wait and see. Interesting there, Heidi Weng, she managed to hold the pace, so she's still not in her absolute best racing form. She's lasted for 5Ks, but now beginning to suffer.
Yeah, and possibly because of the work rate she had to put in on the climb going into the stadium. A loss of balance usually indicates that your legs are pretty shot. We don't know. So,
and Jess Diggins now, sadly for Jess and the American team, she's beginning to drop back a little more.
Yeah, no sign of weakness from Nepraeva, and for me, she has raced the best race so far. Belarukova and Sedova are still in there. The Russians will be absolutely delighted with the way this race is going at the moment. Heidi Weng's going to be in no man's land again, a little shaky on the downhill. How come the Norwegians generally have one weakness, which is downhill skiing?
That's interesting. I can't understand why you'd think they'd be equaling the best. There's the bonus sprint now.
Here we go, 15 seconds for the winner, which could be absolutely crucial. Nepraeva looks as though she's charged to pick up the whole lot. She wants to close that margin down from 35 seconds, and Nepraeva goes on the right. But Østberg has a good position and no real fight in the end. She hands it to her. I think being so close to the end of the race, Mike, that's a risky one to go all out.
Yeah, but Østberg, she's just commanding this race totally from the front and just reacting, just watching the others. Here's Jess now, so it was 5 seconds at 5 kilometres. Lost an awful lot on the climb out of the stadium.
Yeah, it's between the front 5. It is definitely between those front 5 as we look at some of the tail enders. We've got Fabien Pisson for France going through wearing 23 on the far side. Number 14 you'll recognise is Masako Ishida of Japan. Another solid performance from her. 10 and 11, that's the two Weng twins side by side, one behind the other now, and travelling at exactly the same speed. And number 8 losing ground, Mike, Schlind of Norway. Mixed news for the Norwegian team. They'll be delighted to see Østberg out the front. They'll be disappointed that Heidi Weng has dropped off the pace. And just looking at the bonus sprints, Heidi Weng going through 11.9 outside.
Quite a spectacular drop-off from Heidi Weng as well. She was there at the half distance, then just 1 kilometre later, she's lost 12 seconds. She may well pull that back now because the pace at the front slowed a little.
But isn't this a course that does that to so many athletes? As we see Heidi Weng, she's got Jessie Diggins behind her, and Diggins really is struggling now. This is not a good run. Stage 4 was not her fault. The ski waxes just weren't working for her, icing up on a very difficult day. The hardest day skiing we've seen so far this year. Just to put it into perspective, the men's 15 kilometre taking over 45 minutes. Generally, they finish in around 33, 34.
Exhausting, and skiing in that deep snow. That's Heidi Weng just going through now. Jess Diggins just looking very tired over the crest of that hill.
I'm not convinced that Diggins' skis are running very well, Mike. So back with the leading group of 5. Is that Østberg, who has made a little break? It is. Going through 6.4. She's got 5 seconds clear. This is a really positive move from Østberg, and she would love to go into the final day with an advantage closer to a minute than 35 seconds. That might just be enough. I think Nepraeva and Belarukova and Sedova are all going to be very quick on the hill climb tomorrow.
And maybe that's why Østberg is deciding, well, she's commanded it from the front. Are they catching her? I think they're closing it a little, but she's safe out front, Østberg. And remember, there's another 15-second bonus up for grabs to cross the finish line in first place. 10 seconds for second, 5 seconds for third place.
Yeah, so that could be another 5 seconds gained. And if she can get 15 seconds clear, we're going to be looking at close to that minute mark. She started 35 seconds clear at the start of the day. Slightly surprised that Nepraeva hasn't nipped to her left to go past Parmakoski, who's acting as a little bit of a roadblock here for Østberg, and doing the Norwegian no end of favours.
Difficult to get past her. That's the best race line on the inside. Sedova struggling with the skis, but her engine, her mind power is trying to make them work up that top of that climb.
Look at the margin now, Mike.
Huge.
You know, on the downhill section, it's close to 100 metres. Usberg, when she rounds the corner and sees how far behind the chasers are, will be delighted. 2.5K to go. She's no option now but to go 100% from her here. Capitalise on the work she's done already. Or will she be thinking, I'll save something for tomorrow?
Oh, I think she has to look and think about tomorrow, but maybe saying, right, I'm going to win this race with picking up the first 15 bonus, picking up the final. I want to get a minute before tomorrow, so she'll try, I think, and hold this gap, maybe even increase it.
It's all going Usberg's way. She's won the last 2 stages. She's looking to make it 3 in a row today. That will take her on to 14 World Cup wins. If she wins today and she wins tomorrow, she's going to be 500 points clear of Therese Johaug in the World Cup standings. That means that she's hot favourite to win the Crystal Globe as well. This is going to be her golden season, possibly.
Very much. It started, she showed her intent early on to try and stay with Therese Johaug, who came back from her 2-year ban, and she's shown good form since then.
Yeah, I thought 2016 was Usberg's year, where she got no less than 21 podium finishes in 2016. A phenomenal effort, but most of those were in 2nd and 3rd, because Johaug and, of course, Bjørgen in fine form.
And of course, last year at this time it was all about Heidi Weng, and sadly for Heidi this year she's 37 seconds down now in 6th place.
Here's the form skier, Ingvild Flugstad Usberg, 28 years old. She comes from Gjøvik, southeast of Oslo, I think, Gjøvik.
Yes, down not far from Kristiansand, down that region of Norway, the very southerly tip of Norway. And just looking so strong, everything about Usberg. The double poling, there she is, just economical under the bridge there. Of course, it's flat, then into the stride again on the climb. Easy.
And a really decent margin being opened up. That's Nepreva in 2nd place. Sedova has stayed with her. Sedova in line for another podium finish, Mike. That's not bad at all. She, you know, the bookies didn't fancy her 2 days ago, but still 5-1 to get on the podium was quite a good offer for Sedova, because she's been really solid over the last week.
She's been strong, you know, and especially in the latter stages of a race. Although I still think Parmakoski is going to be strong in this group. She's got lovely little fast gear change tempo.
Does the end of the course suit Parmakoski? You've got to be in a good position at the top of the final climb. It's all downhill into the finish. Last 250 metres are very, very easy. That really comes down to limb speed. You know, Nepreva probably out-sprint Parmakoski.
Probably. I mean, it's such a fast descent down into the stadium. It's double poling. It's about good movement on your skis in terms of cornering, and then the home straight, well, it's downhill, so you need to be very aware and have strong arms for the double poling.
So here comes Usberg in the Tour last year. Remember, she went into the last day with a lead in the Tour de Ski, and the lead was only 1.8 seconds. Pretty much Weng and her started together. You know, it was obvious at that stage that Weng was going to win the Tour. This year, Mike, the way it is going, and we'll have another time split shortly, it looks to me as if Usberg's going to be close to that minute mark going into the final day.
Sedova, Patrick, she's definitely struggling with the grip. She's not getting great grip. She's having to go on the softer powdered snow, but good strategy. She's thinking all the time.
What are we looking at? 15 seconds between 1st and 2nd. Still waiting for the chasers to go through the split. Not quite 15. It's at 10.6 plus the bonus second. So a gain of some 20 seconds. So at the moment, Usberg is 55 seconds clear in the Tour de Ski. Heidi Weng is dropping out of contention. Jessie Diggins' chance of being the first American to win the Tour are evaporating in front of our eyes and the eyes of her parents and family who've come to support. So that's really, really disappointing. They'd love to have seen her challenge for the win tomorrow.
I know, what a pity. If she could only have just stayed at the front today, but that's racing. Good days, bad days, and sometimes equipment plays its part.
It's also easier said than done. And Usberg's skis seem to be gliding, gripping perfectly. The technicians have done a fabulous job for her. Russian skis don't see a problem there, Mike.
Only on the uphill for Sedova and some of the ones who were further back, and they're a long way back now. Sedova's just making a little bit surge forward now.
This is the steepest but short little climb, and a little bit of herringbone for Usberg. She'll break to her right, straight back into the tracks once it levels out. And let's see if the margin is growing or shrinking. It was 10.6 last time they went through at 8.6. At 8.9, it's grown by 0.2.
Now, I was thinking, Patrick, there might be some Russian team orders because Nepraeva's now in third place. If she finishes in second place, she'll pick up 10 bonus seconds. We may see that communication trackside. The coach is asking Sedova to allow Nepraeva to go ahead of her. It's unlikely, but we may see that happening.
Belorukova, who was in fourth place at the start of today, 32 behind. Add that to the 1:27 she started today, so she's going to be almost 2 minutes ahead, and is going to be under pressure from Palmakoski for that top 4 place. And with Diggins dropping down the order, Mike, it could well be that Palmakoski gets herself into third. She finished fourth in the Tour last year and was third after this leg.
Poor old Jess Diggins, she's a minute and 1 second down with 1.4 kilometers, so we'll expect her to lose another 5 or 7 seconds between here and the finish line.
So the 2 quickest hill climbers from last year are struggling. Heidi Weng is one, and the other is Therese Stadlober from Austria, Mike. We haven't seen anything of her today.
Well, incredibly, she was on the list, Patrick, but she didn't even start today.
Yeah.
And that's a pity, because normally, well, last year, Stadlober came third in this race. Strong wind there from the right into Usberg's right shoulder.
Into the last kilometre, and it is all about Usberg, and it's Sedova who's started to make a push for the front.
Look at Palmakoski, though. This is where last year she put in an incredible turn of pace. Hasn't quite got it this year.
It is a brutal climb into the finish here.
Sedova with those skis slipping. She's had to go wide, is allowing Nepraeva to come back.
Yeah, and Nepraeva is gaining with each stride. This is the fight for second place. No response from Palmakoski in 4 at the moment. It's between the 2 Russians for second and third, but there's nothing they can do about the Norwegians' lead. Usberg is on her way down into the stadium, and under the co-op banner, it's all easy from here. All she has to do is stay on her feet. It's not the sort of area and stadium that we see many falls in, but Usberg is out of sight from the 2 chasers. Absolutely brilliant performance from her. She picks up maximum bonus seconds today. We're going to see a big smile on the 28-year-old's face when she crosses the line. Every second is crucial. I'm not sure she's still got that 10-second advantage she had at 8.9 kilometers, but it's enough to put her advantage over 50 seconds at the end of the day. And if Sedova gets second, that will be crucial. But it looks like Nepraeva has shown us faster finish. She claims second, gets the vital 10 seconds bonuses. Sedova 3 on the podium yet again. How many times in succession is that? That's, well, actually 3 times for the Tour this year. So consistent racing from her. And Palmakoski, Mike, still isn't quite the animal that we saw out in Pyeongchang, that we saw in Lahti at the World Championships.
Now, I'm just wondering, does that mean Palmakoski's going to have another great major championships? Her Olympic performances were fabulous, and maybe now on the 17th of February, that will be her big aim. Belorukova fading, tired.
39 behind, and she was 1:27 behind at the start of the day, so over 2 minutes adrift of the leaders overall. Heidi Weng started today 3:15 behind. She's going to be closer to 4.5 minutes. She will not retain the Tour de Ski title this time round.
Well, Jess Diggins, it was 1 minute and 1 second, so and the same with Heidi Weng, losing another decent margin, sadly, over that last 1.4 kilometers.
Yeah, and from 1:22, Jess Diggins is going to lose more than 1:22 because no bonuses for the American today. She's up to around 3 minutes. Quick look at the ski from Heidi Weng. Were they the issue? Quite possibly.
Just wondering, Neprayeva did just slide ahead of Sedova on just prior to the line. She did have good skis on the descent, but I don't think Sedova would be unhappy to allow her teammate to pick up the 10 seconds, because Sedova was 6th, Neprayeva was 2nd.
Well, I got the feeling it was a fair race, and I think Sedova just struggled on that last uphill climb. You saw her come out of the tracks early. Neprayeva closed it down, used the slipstream well on the downhill. I'm not sure that was gamesmanship, but it's gone in the favour of Neprayeva, which means she stays in the chase. She's going to have to take something like 52, 53 seconds out of Usberg on the Alpe d'Huez. She's got 9 kilometres to make that up.
It's unlikely. It's possible. We've seen it in the past. It can happen. But Usberg is just looking in a very, very commanding and easy and enjoying her racing, loving her racing at the moment.
Von Siebenthal, who was top 10 in the Tour standings last year, down in 20th today. She is going to... she's going to be a long, long way behind. I guess there'll be a few more retirements, Mike. And if there are, and if we're down to under 30 athletes for the Alpe d'Huez, do you think they need to rethink the final stage of the Tour? Is it too damaging? Do people lose form as a result of the brutal climb?
I don't think so. We saw Parmakoski last year. Yes, she came 3rd in this race last year. She attended the whole Tour and went on to the Olympics and picked up, what, 4 medals. So it didn't wreck her season. It did for Heidi Weng, though, who won the overall Tour.
So how often have we seen this Tour? 1 Norwegian and 2 Russians on the podium. And Sedova and Neprayeva getting on the podium. For Russia, of course, it's Usberg in the middle. Usberg still looking fresh as a daisy. This time last year, she looked very, very tired indeed. But I think she's full of confidence. We're not going to get an interview like we did last year, where she says, I'm rubbish at climbing the Alpe d'Huez. There's no way I can win. It's all going to be positive.
I was going to say, she's very honest. She might say, well, I'm not the strongest climber, but yeah, it's a convincing, such a convincing lead that she has. Won the race today by only 10 seconds, but she picked up a further 20. Sorry, a further 10 in the sprint.
A 10 advantage over Neprayeva.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, 5 in the first and 5 in the second.
Some spent athletes there.
Well, that's Tyrrell Udnesvang. And that's nice to see Usberg going across. Normally it's the twin sister that will go and rescue her. But it is a brutal course, this one here in Val di Fiemme. Well, that could be one athlete who won't be taking part tomorrow. Usberg, on the other hand, wouldn't miss it for the world. It could be her moment to claim the Tour de Ski title, a title that the Norwegian women have had a huge amount of success on in the past. There's the timings for today, so a 10-second advantage on the race, another 10 gained with the bonus sprints. So our estimation is that the margin is now 55 seconds. Hopefully we'll get an update on that later on. Ishida of Japan finishes 13 overall. She started the day in 14th place in the Tour. Pia Fink doing okay for Germany, just 1:58 behind.
That's a good performance from Gantz, from ranked 26, but moving up to 16th, 15th today.
And Therese Stadlober did not start. That's a real shame. She was a real battler, second fastest on the climb last year. Well, the tracks are in very good condition, but you can see that the south-facing slopes around Val di Fiemme do not have a flake of snow to their name. It's not uncommon, actually, Mike. Often you see the crowd here in shorts and T-shirts, basking in the sunshine with the tracks all laid out, mostly artificial snow.
Yeah, mostly artificial. Unfortunately, of course, the other side of the Alps, snowing heavily today, but its own little climate here, little mini climate here. I'm just thinking, Patrick, in the women's race, so we had only 5 athletes in the first 1 minute. In the men's race, we're going to see, what, 30?
Here's your winner and the Tour leader.
Ingvild Flugstad Østberg, you showed a very, very strong race, and you're the new leader now with 53 seconds ahead. So we have a final stage, Alpe Cermis. What's in your head?
First of all, today's race was really important, and I've been trying to prepare as good as possible, and I was actually just waiting for the Russians and Krista to attack and try to stay in front of the field. And in the last lap, I just had to try my best, and maybe I could get some seconds. And I'm just so happy that I won today, and for sure it's nice for tomorrow's race, because that's maybe not my favorite stage, so I need every second that I can have on the other competitors. So now I'm soon preparing for the last stage of this year's Tour de Ski.
Good luck, and we'll be watching you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, she didn't say satisfied, which makes a change. Mike, what she didn't point out is that last year in this race, as we look at the top three, she lost 35 seconds to Heidi Weng on that 10K. This year, she's taken 10 seconds out of everyone, and she's not a bad hill climber. She was third fastest on the final stage. 48 seconds given away to Weng, but Weng is no threat. Stadlober's no threat. Surely it's in the bag.
It very much looks in the bag. We know her equipment. Of course, Østberg's equipment's going to be running fast. The skis are going to be as well prepared as anybody. So it's looking very, very good for the first time for the overall title.
Nepreva might think otherwise. Anything under a minute, she will know is achievable. And Nepreva saving herself 5 seconds by nipping into second place at the end of today. But here's the lady with a spring in her feet. It is Ingvild Flugstad Østberg. Her 14th World Cup win, but more importantly, a step closer to becoming the Tour de Ski champion. 1:55.16, so the margin at 53.4. Palmakoski at 2:13, really battling to hold off Belarukova and Sedova for third place. Jessie Diggins dropping down to 6th, having started the day in 3rd. Just when she didn't want it, she has a rotten race.
It's a pity, because Jess, they're 122 at the start of the today, and losing, giving so much away. But you know, that is racing. She'll be philosophical. She was 3rd overall last year, was looking good for it. Well, 3rd at the beginning of today. But hey, that's racing, and she'll be quite philosophical about it. She tried her hardest, she always does, and you can do no more.
Did you race better or worse in front of your family?
Yeah, better, certainly at the Olympics, yep. Especially when the bagpipes are playing.
This is the lady to beat, and Østberg did not put a foot wrong, despite the fact that we criticised her tactics of leading from the start. One stage to go, 6 down, 1 remaining, and as you can see tomorrow, the women's climb starts at midday UK time. Do not miss it. Should be an absolute cracker. But before that, we've got the men's 15-kilometre coming up here from Val di Fiemme. 6 times round the same lap that we've just seen from the women. And it's all about the Russians and the Norwegians again. Klæbo against Ustyrgov and Bolshinov. Well, that's all from Val di Fiemme for now. We'll be back in a little under half an hour. Not a lot of time to recover. The race marshals will be out, and it's going to be Klæbo of Norway who wears the Tour Leaders bib. Should be a cracker. We'll see you then.